Hello, and thank you for joining us to prepare for a week of RLS Advocacy. Today, we are discussing what to do after contacting your member of Congress. With us today is the RLS Foundation's Washington representative, Philip Goglis II, to discuss more about how to follow up with Congress. Thank you for being with us today, Philip.
Thank you, Clara, and thank you all again for your participation in our advocacy activities.
Let's get started with the questions. Once advocates have contacted their legislators, what are their next steps?
So a key next step after contacting your legislators is to let the Restless Leg Syndrome Foundation know how did it go. We do have a short form that can be found at our website, www.rls.org/advocacy-action. We're going to ask that you go to that form, fill it out with some key information that we'll discuss, but that is what will help us to follow up with key offices.
Awesome. What information will they provide in this form?
So this form is going to be the who, what, where, when, why, how follow-up part of your activities. It's going to let us know who did you speak with, how did you get in touch with them, was it by phone, was it by email, did the individual you spoke with, did they request any follow-up information, or did they have a question that you may not have had the answer to, which is perfectly okay. What follow-up should be done? Did they have a specific question about any one of our priorities? That's going to be incredibly helpful because that allows me and the foundation to follow up with an office and staffer to provide them with that extra information and then make sure that they have all the relevant materials so that way they can continue to advocate for our priorities.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you have any notes from your conversation, please please provide those in the form in the email. And you can email me at clara@rls.org and I'll help you take care of that. Next question. Why is it important to give the foundation this information?
So it's important because we don't expect everybody who is an advocate to be an expert on the policy process. That's my job here in Washington, to represent the foundation, make sure that offices understand about what priorities are important to us, what our policy positions are, and how to advance those moving forward. What's critically important for our advocates is to be the expert in their story. What has your journey been? Are you a patient? What has your journey been with restless leg syndrome? Are you a caregiver, a spouse, a partner, a parent, a child of somebody with RLS? What have you experienced? That is really what's key to your advocacy, is sharing your story, sharing your journey, helping to educate lawmakers about what restless leg syndrome is and the effect that it has on people's lives. The policy positions and some of the technical aspects, you don't have to be an expert in that. We don't want you to focus on that. It's good to know, but we don't ask you to be an expert in that. You are a first and foremost expert in what your story is. And by letting us know all of this key information, you allow us to follow up with them on those specific policy priorities and allow us to answer those questions on your behalf.
Awesome. Super important. Should advocates follow up with a staff member after an initial contact?
Yes, advocacy is not just one day or 1 week out of the year. Advocacy is truly year-round. So we are encouraging all of our advocates to develop relationships with your members of Congress. It is the start of the 117th Congress, so it's a new Congress. There are a lot of new members of the House, a lot of new senators. There's a new administration. We encourage you to develop these key relationships with your House member and with your 2 senators to make sure that they truly continue to understand the importance of the restless leg syndrome community, why they should keep our priorities in mind when working through their legislative process, and to use this as a resource for any questions that they might have. I could go into every single House office or every single Senate office and talk to them about the importance of supporting the restless leg syndrome community priorities. Their response to me is, does anybody in my district, are they affected by this? Is there a constituent who is passionate about this? So by developing a relationship with your local office, you are raising awareness, educating them, and developing new champions for the overall community that allows us to elevate our priorities in Congress.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to share this important information about how to follow up with your members of Congress. You can watch more of our virtual advocacy videos on our website at rls.org/advocacy. Thank you, Phil, for your time.
Thank you all.